to do what?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Protect Our Queens podcast. I am back and I'm feeling better than ever. I was down
He's
last
back.
over the count.
He's back. Yes, sir, Marcus.
They tried to keep me out of there, but I'm back.
Trying to keep him down.
I'm feeling good.
Marcus.
Martin's feeling good. We have a special guest on the show tonight, the one and only Chris Williamson. But before we jump into that, Martin and I just wanted to take some time. And we wanted to acknowledge something that happened this past week on First Take. So I'm gonna play the clip. We're gonna talk about it for a little bit, and then we're gonna get Chris to join us. I thought this was particularly interesting. So let's roll the clip.
Can I say something real quick about? And don't take this the wrong way, America. That's the first women's basketball game I've ever been to. They can flat out play.
Yes,
I was shocked.
Oh, they can play.
How physical they were.
Oh, you just realized that UConn women's basketball we could play?
But the physicalness, like the physicality, they were beating
I
each
love
other
me
up.
some.
You're having a tough
I love me some
segment right
Caitlin
now.
Clark.
You got
She's
a
my
couple
favorite.
sound bites.
I love me some Caitlin Clark. She's my favorite. But I gotta go see Juju at USC.
I
got to see that.
Yeah, Paige Beckers had 30 last night.
Well, she's special too. It's that the knee injury. That's what happened. She's special.
Yeah.
She's special.
You want to drop any other gems, or you want to just get out of here safely? Coming up after LeBron's brilliant performance.
Molly cooked him.
Molly cooked them. So here's the thing, right? Shout out Dan for going to his first college basketball game. Great time to go. Women's basketball is booming. But for those that don't know who Dan Orlovsky is, Dan Orlovsky is a former NFL quarterback, played for the Detroit Lions. He spent 4 years at UConn from 2001 to 2004, which means for 4 years, Dan Orlovsky went to school with Sue Bird. And now one time in the early 2000s, did Dan Orlovsky go to a UConn women's basketball game. I thought that was...
It's interesting, isn't it? It's I don't know. It's a little interesting for it to be UConn. Come on, Dan. This is
come on, Dan. I mean,
this is a come on, Dan. Like, dog, he again, he deserves credit for taking his daughter, showing the women's game love, saying how much he enjoyed the physicality, and just, I mean, his eyes like lit up. It was like he saw aliens or something. He's like, yo, I didn't know. Dude, for you to have gone to UConn, it's not like he went to Southwest Mississippi State or you know what I mean? Like, or community college or something. Dude, you went to UConn. You went to the women's basketball school at that time. When you told me that range where he was at UConn, I'm like, oh my God. How did he turn that into an embarrassing moment?
And normally I like Dan on TV. I think he's good, but
I do too. Yeah, I'm not a football guy. You're more of a football guy, but when I hear him talk football, I enjoy what he has to say.
There's now two things that Dan Orlovsky will live in infamy for: never having gone to a UConn women's basketball game and walking out the back of the end zone against the Minnesota Vikings. Let's get Chris Williamson on the show so we can talk about somebody that knows what they're talking about. Let's go.
Protect our queens.
No matter what it takes, we must protect our queen.
I mean, I just love playing the game. It's fun.
I'm reacting on what the defender does.
I hit them with a hezzy. After that, they quit.
Yeah, I think I've always just been able to get downhill. So I've sort of prided myself on that.
I know what I'm doing. Like, people can't tell me I'm not doing the right. Like, I've been taught the right way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, for anybody who is new here or who is just joining us, who's not familiar, this is the Protect Our Queens podcast. If you don't get down with women's basketball, this is not the place for you. And our special guest tonight, we already know, gets down with the women's game. I've had the pleasure to chop it up with Chris over on his podcast, on the 3-on-3 podcast. Chris is doing some just does awesome work. I really enjoy his tweets and how he claps back at people with no regard and no remorse. And for the most part, from what I can tell, he's usually defending not just women's basketball, but women. Chris is out here on the front lines, man. But he's a great brother, does great work, and we're happy to have him here on the Protect Our Queens podcast. Chris, what's going on, bro?
What's up, baby? It's always a pleasure when I get to talk women's basketball, and then I get to do it with two very insightful and dynamic brothers, Martin and Marcus. So yeah, I'm living the dream right now, man. I love the work that y'all do. I'm glad, honored that y'all wanted to have me on. So I can't wait to get into it, man.
It's love, man. We're looking forward to chopping it up with you about a few things. A quick housekeeping item, fellas. I did want to make it known what's going on here, because you already know.
Yeah.
You know what we're doing right now. With the,
come on, man.
Let
them know.
There's a lot of
let them know. A lot. That's a damn CBS receipt for accolade, dog.
Absolutely.
Come on, bro.
Real quick, speaking of CBS receipts for accolade, so I've been doing this a post a day, like, did you know, for like basketball icons, because it's Women's History Month. And man, on Monday I picked Maya Moore. You talk about a CBS receipt of accolades, bro.
No,
I needed all 10 slides of the carousel. Maya Moore. And actually, as a matter of fact, when I finished, I didn't know I had 12. I had to cut 2 slides. There was just so many.
Damn.
Jeez, bro. I texted Martin. I was like, "Hey, man, I just finished doing this." Because last week we were talking about, or a couple weeks ago we were talking about who the greatest women's basketball player of all time in college was. And I said, well, I'm not that, like, I didn't grow up watching Maya Moore. I grew up watching Breonna Stewart. Like, Stewie's my go, because I was like, when I first got into college basketball, it was women and it was Stewie winning championships every year. I sat there and I was writing Maya Moore's job. I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason Sports Illustrated said she's the greatest winner in women's basketball history. That's a lot. She didn't lose 100 games
in her whole
the time she retired, bro. That's crazy. That's
OD.
That career record
chips
foolish
in the WNBA.
That's crazy, bro. What was she, like 536 and 95 or something?
Yeah, I think that, something around there.
Unheard of, bro. That's
ridiculous.
It's a team sport, but it reminds me of like Serena Williams. I think she had like an 80% winning percentage or something like that in the course of her career. Of course, she played longer than Maya did, but still, it's like that level of dominance was sustained over a long period of time. So yeah, I'm hurt that we didn't get to see her continue to play. I'm glad that she is walking and living in her purpose, but for us, we're a little bit hurt.
Yeah, yo, and it was pretty profound to see her at that Iowa game, not just because of like the Caitlin Clark, link up and all that. That was cool, but I felt it was pretty remarkable because I didn't even know if Maya was watching hoop anymore. I don't think we knew if Maya even liked basketball. I think we were all just glad to see Maya in the gym.
Now for real, bro. She barely steps out that crib, at least to the public eye. If it's not, for her book, with her husband and all that, or coming out to see her fellow teammate, her former teammate Sylvia Fowles, get her jersey retired, all that. Then we don't see her. But she pulled out, so clearly Caitlin moves the needle. That's for sure.
Man, that was crazy.
That was a needle mover, that's for sure.
That was huge. I was surprised. I mean, she was.
But it's not even. It's not even the fact that she came out for the game to see. It's the fact that she went all the way out to Iowa. Right. It could be a neutral site, right? She went out to Iowa. I'm sure they paid for her travel, all that, but still.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Man, it was literally just great to see. Chris, we do want to talk a little Caitlin, a little college. We got a few things to get to here. And we just played the clip from Dan Orlovsky on First Take, which is funny too, because it's like the college game. There's so many people, like Stephen A brings up Juju, and then Dan is like, yeah, Paige had 30 last. You're bringing up Caitlin. It's like, yeah, we all know Caitlin. Stephen A's like, I gotta see Juju, and then Dan's like, yo, but Paige had 30 last night. It's like, yeah, keep going, because it's a lot. It's a lot from freshmen to seniors to transfers to undefeated teams. I mean, there's a lot happening in the college game, and there's a lot to enjoy, as we know. I do want to come back a little bit, Chris, because we kind of started. Marcus talked about kind of his GOAT and women's players that he kind of grew up watching and started out watching that kind of put him onto the women's game. Who was it for you? I'm curious. Like, what are the origins of your fandom in women's basketball? Because you seem to have some pretty strong roots or connections. Something happened with you. So what really put you on to women's basketball, bro?
Honestly, bro, when you sent me the rundown of what we're going to talk about, and I saw that question, I said to myself, there really wasn't a particular moment that I said, yo, I'm attracted to women's basketball. It was kind of just a natural interest. Like, I just loved hoops. So it really started, I feel like, 1990, what was it, 1996 or 1990? It was whenever the Houston Comets started dominating, right, in the WNBA. So in the late 90s. And they just kept winning and winning. So, Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Cynthia Cooper, you had Teresa Weatherspoon, on the Liberty, Rebecca Lobo, so many great players. Shamika Holtzclaw as well. Shout out Tennessee. So there wasn't a particular moment. I just was attracted to like entertaining basketball and those players, those teams. And then, of course, the rivalry between UConn and Tennessee with Gino, Pat Summitt. Those storylines jumped out to me. And I saw the product. I'm like, yeah, I'm all the way down for this. So it didn't even register as, I need to be watching women's sports or women's basketball. Just, I like hoops. I'm a pure hooper, even though I couldn't play it. So if somebody's got the handle, somebody's got the pizzazz, I'm watching it. Don't matter if they male or female.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, Chris is a rare that I feel like that's a rare case of people who, I mean, there's a good amount of you out here, but I feel like it's rare, because he just watches basketball. It's like there's not really anything that puts you on. Marcus is kind of a newbie, but he's a sports guy, so he could always see that it was. But in the last couple of years, like, Marcus would start hitting me like, "Yo, like, I've seen the light. Like, this is looking crazy out here."
Yeah, bro. Exactly.
Bro, I started off. So I got into women's basketball because I would do bracket challenges with my friends. And the men's one was just like too simple. And so we would do the women's one just for fun because we weren't really like tapped in for it. So we were just kind of like just doing it based off like whatever. I was like, no, like if I'm going to win this, like I want to watch the game and see what's going on. So I grew up watching, like I grew up for the most part, I was watching Stewie. And then one day, like I watched a South Carolina game and I just fell in love with Asia Wilson. And so Asia Wilson converted me to a Gamecocks fan. And so I've been a South Carolina fan ever since. And so naturally, when Asia Wilson gets drafted, I started watching more WNBA basketball. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there's some pretty good hoops happening over here. You got some good stuff happening over here. And I love it, bro. Like I love it all the time. I sit here and I remember I texted Martin like either early last year or late 2022, and I was like, Martin, I don't know what I've been doing all my life, but like I've been missing out on women's basketball. Like there's a lot of good stuff happening over here, bro. Right. So yeah, that's kind of how it started for me. It all started because of Stewie, and then it was really Asia Wilson, and now it's great, bro. I love it. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, and Chris, like you don't hold back when you see some nonsense out here,
right?
Disrespecting the women's game. Since you've been watching the game and obviously you cover it, what has been your experience? Kind of like, have you seen kind of more like backlash? Obviously, social media plays into it, and you just got a sea of people out there ready to just say whatever, and you got to deal with that. But obviously the women's game is booming right now, like we said, and things are growing at a crazy pace, and it's great energy right now. But what's kind of been what's been your experience kind of watching the product evolve? Like what are some of the things that have kind of stood out to you as far as like fans, the audience, the energy? Like what kind of stands out to you?
What stands out to me is the passion that you have from a lot of these fan bases. There's not one fan base that I think, or maybe some, but most of the fan bases are ridiculously committed. And some levels, it gets to a cult level type of following or interest. for the, the powerhouses. So that can be a little crazy at times for the overzealous fans. It's been great to see, these companies, networks buy in more to these amazing ladies and what they're doing and highlighting their stories. Of course, it still needs to be spread around more evenly. So it's not just Caitlin Clark, but you have Juju Watkins, you have Hannah Hidalgo, you know what I'm saying? You have Ashton Watkins on South Carolina, Raven Johnson, so many names, Madison Scott, Ole Miss. I could go down the list, Liz Kitley, Georgia Amore. So it's been wonderful to see them really dig deep into propping up these women. Still got a long ways to go. And there, of course, are going to be detractors, people that are going to hate on the game, but they're idiots. And it has to do with their insecurities and their issues about how they see the world, and particularly how they see women. Because I tell people all the time, how do you not watch? If you don't watch women's basketball, then you're not a real fan of basketball, because it's hoops at its purest form, because they don't, or they can't, they're not able to rely on their athleticism as much as the men. So you have to be that much more fundamentally sound as opposed to a men's player. And it shows up in the product, the cutting, the angles, the basketball IQ. And of course, there are games where they're duds and it's hard to watch, just like in the men. But overall, bro, give it to me all. Because let me tell you, when Sylvia Fowles was at LSU, Candace Parker was at Tennessee, those freaking battles, that gave me so much life. When Maya Moore was dominating the scene, when Syracuse gave a challenge to UConn one year, Rutgers with I'm blanking her name, she'll forget. C. Vivian Stringer and everything that she did for college basketball, not just at Rutgers, but beginning at her first coaching stop. Like, it's been wonderful to see how the game has progressed, to say the least.
This made me smile, bro. We sit here and we have these conversations all the time about how, like, Martin and I were even talking this morning. Like, I think a lot of times, especially people who aren't tapped into the game, people who don't watch the game, are very quick to say women's basketball, men's basketball. But like, if you notice, a lot of the avid supporters of the game, they don't put that descriptor there. They're like, there's a really good basketball game on. Like, I was on, funny story. I was talking to my friends on Saturday, because Saturday was a big day for college basketball. It was the same last day of the regular season. I was like, there's a lot of basketball on the day. And they're like, no, there's not. Like, oh, I mean, come on, college. I'm talking women's college basketball. I was like, oh, well, then say that. Like, no, like, it's basketball, bro. Like, there's a lot of basketball on today. I got like 24 teams playing basketball tonight. Like, that's a difficult thing, I think, for a lot of people who don't support the game, people who don't like the game, to wrap their mind around, because they're so used to just assuming that it's not good ball, that like there is a legit argument in some areas of the game that women's basketball, and I know we'll talk about it a bit later, specifically in the college realm, is better than men's college basketball for all the reasons you just mentioned. And when you talk about it being fundamentally sound, for a guy like Martin, who I know is a basketball purist, like, that's more exciting for some people than watching, fast break dunks and alley-oops. Not that fast break dunks and alley-oops aren't exciting, but you don't get a lot of that throughout the course of a game on a day-to-day basis. And so, like, for me, like, my big thing is, to all the people who are saying lowering the rims, like, there's not that many dunks that happen in a basketball game for you to want to tap in if they lower the rim. Like, it's just not. It's really not. Like, you're not seeing that many dunks on a game-to-game basis, night-to-night basis for lowering the rim to get you to tap in. Like, that's just not the case. I love women's basketball. It's fundamentally sound, and it's exciting. It's exciting for me anyway, and that's all that really matters.
So, Chris, who would be your women's basketball Mount Rushmore? Just overall women's basketball. I know are you born and raised in New York, Chris?
Nah, I saw that, so I came up with some, and I got some, but no, I'm not born and raised in New York. I'm from DC. Yeah, DC.
You're from DC. Okay,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
From DC?
Yeah, born and raised DMV. Come on.
That's right.
I'm from DC. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wait, are you actually from DC? Are you from like Bethesda?
No. Hey, bro. I knew you was gonna say that. No, I'm actually from DC. Born and raised in DC. I went to elementary school in DC. I went to middle school in DC. Went to high school in DC. I went to UDC for college for 2 years. I'm from DC. I swear
I'm from DC. My man. So you're not an
DC ain't always
like
DC.
Yeah, no, you ask somebody they from DC, they say, "Oh yeah, I'm from Woodbridge." Woodbridge is not DC. That's not.
Yeah, from Alexandria. No, okay.
I'm from Silver Spring.
Silver Spring. No, that's not it either. Oh man, but yeah, bro. So Mount Rushmore, that's tough. So for New York City, I would go Tina Charles, Christ the King, Sue Bird as well, Shamika Holtzclaw, Christ the King as well. Now Stewie went to high school in New York, but she's in Syracuse, right? So that don't count for New York City. Don't count. I'm sorry. And then the next person that I have to put on there probably would have to be maybe Epiphany Prince. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you might do it.
Yeah. She's cold-blooded. She had a great WNBA career. I think now she's playing overseas. So that would be my 4 because I can't put Stewie's not from New York City, so she doesn't qualify.
I think that's fair. Dwayne Marcus, do you know your history? Do you know the number, the big number associated with one Epiphany Prince? The amount of points she scored in a high school game. Anything ring a bell? Anything?
No.
All right. Okay. Take a guess. Take a guess. Take a guess.
100?
You close.
Keep going. 120?
A little bit under. You're right there.
Eric, you really hot.
113, my friend. 113
points in a high school game?
Yeah.
There's footage of that?
If I'm not mistaken, there's footage.
If there's footage, I'll believe you. I don't think Wilt scored 100 because nobody can give me footage of that.
Bro,
no, this is New York City, bro. If you go to New York, they'll we're there. We'll tell you.
I got you. There's footage. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, 113 points. Yeah.
Doesn't Cheryl Miller have a story of like how like she came home one day and Reggie Miller was talking about how he had like a really good game? And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And she said, "I scored like 73 or something like that." Like, no, God.
Yeah,
113.
Yeah, I think that was the record. Yeah, she broke. Yeah, 50 broke. Yeah, Cheryl's record there. 2006, man. It's 5'9". You know, so no.
Piff was one of the calmest all-out buckets I ever saw, bro. It was like she literally. Probably her biggest critique that I remember that people would say to, like, people would call her lazy just because it looked like she wasn't trying out there. Like her game was just kind of naturally like slower, smooth, calm. But like, dog, she would be getting 30, like she would be frying you, but it just looked like she wasn't trying. So she would literally bro, shout out to Piff, man. I got a Piff story that would be hilarious to tell, but that's my girl, man. Man, I just remember watching her at Rutgers, dude. They would literally, it was literally a critique, but it was just her game, and you couldn't stop her.
No, you really had no shot. And in that game, I was just looking up. She made 54 out of 60 shots. Like that's just, I don't care what league.
54 out of 60.
Yeah, that's what it said. 54 out of 60 shots. Who does that?
Oh, she was wilding. I remember seeing video like not long after it happened, and I remember seeing a lot of jumpers. It was a lot of jumpers, bro. It was.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because in the previous record, Cheryl with 105. My goodness, Lisa Leslie 101.
Oh, and see, look at what we're talking about, guys. This was decades ago. Girls out here dropping over 100 points in a game. I mean, the Cheryl Miller story, that's well known. That's a legendary story, right? So it's just interesting. Like even my brother said to me this week, we were talking about like Angel and Caitlin and just like how lit women's college game is, and he was like, "Yo, hasn't the women's game always been lit? Like we went to the Final Four in 2001. We were watching Candace Parker and see. He was like, bro, hasn't it always been lit? I'm like, well, yeah, like you've been around. You remember, like the talent has always been there. It's just we're seeing like the surge really start to happen right now.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. The casual fan is becoming more invested with the game. And then they're getting more visibility because these companies are actually using their brain smartly and not leaning into misogyny and sexism, even though there's still issues there. But it's getting better slowly but surely. That's why I saw Steven Jackson said what he said the other day, like the players are getting more talented. No, that's not. I mean, they are, but that's not the reason why you see so much excitement, because a lot of people just catching up. Yeah. The train been rolling. You just caught up to it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is.
That's real. Yeah, that's real. Hey, man. It's been happening.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff been happening.
I can't even comprehend that. In high school. Well,
yeah.
Oh, bro. Hey, man. Gosh, bro. Man.
Yeah, bro. It's been like that out here. It's really been like that.
Sheesh.
So I think like it's interesting because I think right now we are starting to see well, the numbers are even showing us that the women's college game is you don't even have to say more exciting, but it's being sought after more. People are watching the women's college game more than the men's college game. Talk about that a little bit, Chris. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, there's definitely some elements to it. We've been talking about the star power and, there being a lot of talent, of course, but we just talked about how there's always been a lot of talent. What have you been kind of seeing and hearing? Because I literally saw, I think it was Bill Simmons. Heard Bill Simmons came out and said, like, yo, it's just flat out women's college is more, and just to hear more and more people start to say that, even just random people in social media comments and on Twitter, like they're just giving it up. They're just like, man, the men's college game is just not like it's not hitting right now. Even going back to last year's national championship. So, what are your thoughts on that right now?
Yeah, I mean, it is true. It is much more compelling content in TV because you have the superstars who are moving the needle, right? You have the drama, the storylines, or the rivalries with these teams, whether it's, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, or LSU, versus South Carolina, Dawn Staley versus Kim Mulkey. You got Neil Ivey, you got Hannah Hidalgo, against Georgia Amore, all those things. They're box office talent, right? Mylasia Fulwiley. And it's the way they play and the personality that they bring, right? So I think that all plays into why we're seeing, of course, Juju Watkins, why we're seeing the viewership rise in the women's game compared to the men. Look, they still have a lot of talented players, and I forgot who said it, but in this year's draft, you have a lot more guys in college or overseas who you could build with as opposed to building around. I think about Rob Dillingham, Kentucky, Reed Shepherd, those two guys, they're really good, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But they're not the John Walls, the Anthony Davises, the Zion Williamsons, the Kevin Durant's, the Blake Griffins, all those players. You can go on and on, the Kimball Walkers. You're not seeing it. I think also what plays a role is the change in the rules and how there's so many different options for men's basketball or college men's basketball. You're able to go overseas or play with the G League team, right? And you don't have that same, this is a can't miss prospect anymore, even though there are still good stories like UConn. They're trying to go back to back. First team to do that since Joakim Noah, those Florida Gators in the mid 2000s when they were on top of the world. The difference is UConn this year had to replace a lot of their guys who departed for the graduation or transferred or went to the draft. And of course you have the Maniac and Dan Hurley, who is a great character. But I think that all plays into it. So it's not to say, and Zach Edey is a wonderful kid, and he's probably going to be the National Player of the Year again. But he plays a traditional 5, right? We're talking about back in the 2000s. The mold that there we're geared to now, he doesn't line up in that. So I think that also plays into it because he isn't the most compelling, great kid again, but you're not thinking, oh, I gotta watch Zach Edey. I gotta watch him, So yeah, I think that all plays into it. The rule changes, the fact that, everybody's going to different spots, and then also you don't have those can't miss prospects that we used to see. It felt like year in and year out. And then the women's game, yeah. Oh, this player, they're phenomenal. This player, oh yeah, they're freshmen who play like upperclassmen. That is a real thing.
Yeah.
Hannah Hidalgo is the leader of that team for Notre Dame, and she's just a freshman. But you wouldn't know it by the way she commands attention on the floor, and the way I saw an article the other day about how there was one, she said in an interview, there was one girl who said, yo, if Hannah's guarding me, I want to bring the ball up the court. And I'm pretty sure that lady who said that was an upperclassman or older than Hannah. That's probably the highest compliment you can get as a defender. Now, I would never admit that, but yeah.
I mean, my big thing, and Martin and I have talked about this a bit, including this morning, like my big thing is I feel like men's college basketball hinges on two things. It hinges on the star power, like you were talking about, but it also hinges on, most importantly, those stars going to the programs, going to the Dukes and the Kentuckys and the can't, like, you know what I mean? Like a big star going to like Iowa for men's basketball doesn't hold as much weight, doesn't mean as much as a big star going to one of the blue bloods, right? Whereas, and the other thing too is because of the way that the NBA draft structure is set up, a lot of these guys are going to schools for a year and then they're leaving either to go to the draft, or if they don't feel like that school is going to help them with their draft stock, they're in the portal going somewhere else. Women's college basketball, to me, and I say this all the time to Martin all the time, women's college basketball to me most resembles what professional sports looks like, right? As a professional sports fan, we get into sports and we start loving those teams, and then we follow specific players and we watch those players grow, mature, develop, and then be cornerstones, hopefully, and crucial assets and crucial pieces in what is hopefully a very lucrative, very successful tenure with the team. That's what women's college basketball is. You have girls coming in like Malaysia and Hannah and Juju as freshmen. They're not going anywhere. If I turn on a women's college basketball game in 2 years, Hannah will still be in Notre Dame. Juju's still going to be at USC. Malaysia's still going to be in South Carolina, right? You have a couple of girls here and there who's going to get into the transfer portal, but by and large, women's college basketball, because of the way that the draft is set up, like they're not thinking about getting in for 1 year and coming out. Like they're there for all 4 years. They're growing. They're getting better. We're watching them grow up in front of our eyes, and then we get to watch them translate to the next level. And that, to me, is what makes it so every year there's always going to be someone new to talk about as an upperclassman, right? There's always going to be someone new to talk about because we're going to have stars as freshmen who continue to be stars as sophomores, who continue to be stars as juniors. And as they're continuing to go through, we're going to continue to have more talented girls and more talented stars come into college to continue to filter through. I said it to Martin earlier today. It might be an argument right now, and it might be a debate right now, and I think it's because people are still trying to hold on to the nostalgia of men's college basketball. But in 3 to 5 years, I don't think it's going to be a debate. Like in 3 to 5 years, I think it's going to be very abundantly clear that women's college basketball is superior, more exciting, more of a draw than men's college basketball, because we don't always have those big stars coming into college on the men's side every single year, the way that for the next 3 to 5, maybe even 7 to 10 years, there's going to be 3, 5, 7, maybe even 10 girls every year coming in as freshmen that we're going to be talking about, plus the 3 to 5 that we're talking about as freshmen right now, and so forth and so on. Like, it's more exciting to me, and it's undeniably clear to me that it's more of a draw.
Yeah, you both made so many great points. I wanna touch on this. Like Chris brought up the personality. I thought the personality thing that's a big point because like we talked a lot about Angel Reese on here and just the personality dynamic that comes with her. And I have a point. This is my point. I have a take on Angel just with this. No one can overlook how. And Chris, you brought up rivalries, another great point you brought up. And, we always had UConn, Tennessee, like we used to have like those storied rivalries, but I don't know. It feels different now. And this is the point. This changed everything. I think you can't overlook what happened in that Natty game between Angel and Caitlin. Like, there was already a surge happening, right? Jill Biden was at the game. Like Caitlin had already garnered she took out South Carolina in the Final Four. She had she was becoming Caitlin Clark. Like I was screaming to the hills about her since I watched her freshman year.
She could have been freshman, or she could have been National Player of the Year, really. You know what I'm saying? Could have been. So, but yeah, she was heating up there.
So the Angel Caitlin thing, and Chris, Marcus and I talked last week about some comments Angel made about like how people are kind of projecting like she wasn't, but she was just saying if people want to kind of compare us to like Magic and Larry,
right,
that kind of thing, and with their impact on women's college basketball, especially women's basketball as a whole. But I can't help but think how, and again, this isn't even to say that Angel made Caitlin or I just think that moment of the national championship, which again was already a draw. Caitlin had already garnered this huge draw. LSU was this powerhouse. Angel Reese, big personality. So it was already there. When Angel did this, it created, and as we all saw, there was, there were idiots like calling out Angel and trying to go at her and stuff. But that added to the discourse around just the rivalry component of women's basketball, created this like good tension almost, where we came into this season and everyone wants to see what's Caitlin doing, what's Angel doing, right? Exactly. What's up with Paige? She's back from injury. Right. Then you're finding out about these freshmen, and it's like, wait, across the board. So Marcus, to your point, in 3 to 5 years, you and I know pretty well there's a lot more talent coming in. There's more coming. I could start naming the names right now. Girls in 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade. Like, trust me, there are some aliens coming. Like, more aliens are coming.
Chavez is on the way.
Oh my
God! I'm telling you, she's just what we know about. There are girls that people,
and there's other hidden gems that we
haven't even seen or not. Trust me, there are some girls coming that people won't even believe what's coming. But that's also not to like what Caitlin has done, and I know you're not trying to like overshadow Caitlin or say like I just feel like obviously the Caitlin effect is real.
Yes.
I think your take is valid, Marcus. But this is an important time right now because of mainly what Caitlin and Angel did. Like, it's not just Caitlin, it's also Angel. It's gonna take, I hope that influx of talent really gets, embraced and all that, because it's gonna be there. This Caitlin thing has been an outlier. This thing has been totally rare because she's rare. But I hope that you're right, Marcus. I hope in a few years it can just be the case, because as we see the talent continue to grow that's here and the talent coming in, again, you're going to see hitters in Iowa, in Texas, in Florida, and California. Like, it's happening now, but man, it's only going to get crazier. But you can't this time has been the shift. The Caitlin Angel thing.
Yeah,
I can't help but think how that changed everything, because the tension, the rivalry, people just started getting invested for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. More people want to talk about it.
Let me say this, because you know what is really great about the NBA? Well, I don't know if really great, but it's good. They lean into it being a drama, a soap opera, a lot more than the actual product on the floor. Has to do with like reports coming out of players being upset at management or head coaches, vice versa. Players being upset at each other and going on their podcasts and getting their stuff out about who said what. And I think we saw some of that with the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark dynamic, and how, yeah, you got these two great stars who got, I won't say got beat, but they're intense competitors. And so, yeah, Angel felt Caitlin and Iowa disrespected, South Carolina from laying off Raven Johnson, all that during the semifinal game. So this is how I have their back, and pointing at the ring finger, pointing at getting the ring. So I think the fact that people are seeing, I think as we evolve in the women's game, I think if you get like maybe a 60-40 balance of drama and storytelling, rivalries, petty shit, and then also the actual gameplay and how great it is, that would be better. I think that has to be improved on the W side, because it's not just about the on the court. It's what's happening off the court, because everybody don't like each other. That's the other thing that we need to get away from. Women do not need to like each other. They don't need to like every woman that they come in contact with. Some women ain't gonna like each other. Just like some men, it's like, no, I don't like you. Yeah, I respect your game, but I cannot stand you. So when I get on that floor, I'm gonna try to do my best to bust your ass, and I'm gonna let you know about it. So yeah, you're right. It was an inflection point. During that national championship.
I think and Martin and I have talked about this a lot, especially with Caitlin, because Martin and I talked about last week how Caitlin plays in Iowa. In Iowa, where she plays is like, what is it, like 10 miles from Indiana, and where the Indiana Fever players.
It's a little more than that. I know Andrea Carter said it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive.
4 or 5 hour drive is what it is. Like that is when you talk about a turning point in women's college basketball. What I thought was interesting is we go from Caitlin and Angel, a very organic, a very kind of out of the blue type of rivalry and a connection now where they'll always be tied together no matter what happens from this point on. You go from that to, at the time last season, I would say the most anticipated WNBA season of all time, because you have the Aces and their super team, and then you've got the Liberty and their super team, and obviously they're on the crash course, and then we get the crash course, and it was an exceptional WNBA finals. And then you go right from that to these amazing freshmen that are putting the world on notice, on top of what we already have with Caitlin Angel. March Madness in the tournament this year is going to be exceptional to watch, from LSU being defending champs to can Caitlin win her championship as she rides off into the sunset into Indiana to, South Carolina having their first back-to-back undefeated season. Can they get the chip this season? Plus Paige is back and actually in the tournament this year, right? Can she get, like, there's a lot of storylines, and we're going to go from that to, once again, the most anticipated WNBA season of all time, because Skylar's in Seattle and Nneka's in Seattle and New York's reloaded and fully back, and Connecticut's reloaded and fully back, and like there's so many Phoenix. You have so much stuff happening. There's so much stuff happening across the league, right?
Crazy.
Dallas is doing what they're doing. Atlanta's doing what there's so much happening across the league, to the point where, and Martin says this all the time, the beautiful thing about women's college basketball and where it's at right now is the fans of Caitlin Clark, even if they've never watched WNBA basketball before, they're going to watch Indiana Fever basketball.
Yeah.
The fans of Angel Reese, if they've never watched it, wherever she goes, they're going to watch her. Same Aaliyah Edwards, Rakia Cameron, like whoever gets drafted, all of those fans who have probably never tapped into the WNBA before, they are going to tap into the WNBA this year just for the simple fact of wanting to see how those girls are doing. So much so, and I've even said this to Martin, like, I know that last season, the WNBA set a bunch of records for attendance and sellouts. This season, whatever records were set last year, this season's going to smash all those records. All those attendance records, all those sellouts, those ticket sales, merchandise, revenue, ratings, all those records that were set last year, especially from all those records are going to be smashed just off the strength of, again, that word you used earlier, the personality, the marketability, the fact that these girls actually mean something to these fans. They're gonna want to follow them to the next level. Like this, I think. And we saw the Fever do this last year with the League of Boston. I think they were the only team really last year that really did this the way they did it. Like the Fever leaned into a League of Boston being the number one overall, leaned into her coming from South Carolina, and really, really leaned into the fact that, hey, if you've never watched WNBA basketball before, that's fine. but you can watch us because we have Aaliyah Boston. I think more teams are going to do that this year because I think more teams recognize, hey, we have a lot of box office names, big names coming out of the draft. We have to capitalize on this. This WNBA season is going to be the best season ever from an on the court standpoint, from marketability standpoint, sellouts, attendance, like any metric you could possibly use to measure greatness, anticipation, and all that stuff. The WNBA is going to set all of it, and it has a lot to do with going from college to the WNBA because it's not just the players, it's the fans too. And that's going to keep happening. Those fans are going to continue to migrate from college to the WNBA. So that's another big thing too as well.
Yeah, and before you go, Chris, you know, what's cool now too, like Paige is staying. So guess what? Next year's draft is going to be the Paige draft. It's going to be lit. There might be we're still waiting to hear if people are actually coming out, right? So we know Caitlin's coming. So this is the Caitlin draft. It's lit, right? It's lit. Not to say it doesn't matter who else comes, but like this is the Caitlin Clark draft now. So that's already set, right? And we have other great players. We will have other great players coming out. We know this. But like the fact that Paige is staying back, who else is going to stay back, right? So we're set for like the next 3, 4, 5 drafts to be. We're
going to have the Hannah and Juicy draft in a couple of years. Like we're going to continue to have. It's going to continue to be that cycle, bro.
It's an abundance of amazing talent at our fingertips, and we have a front row seat. You just have to be hip to it. Just got to open your damn eyes and really tap into great high quality basketball. So yeah, I'm overjoyed for what this season, you know, as Mark was talking about, what this season's going to be like in the W, especially because there's some pundits who say, oh, Caitlin's going to dominate. She's going to be up for maybe MVP, which I think is crazy. Don't put those expectations on her. But the fact that people are saying that, you know, these current WNBA players, they're going to be licking their chops to get on Caitlin Clark. Oh, you thought there was a college baby?
Indiana's first game, I think, is against, if I'm not mistaken, Indiana's first game is against like the Liberty or the Sun.
I think it's the Sun. I think it's the Thomas.
She's gonna get a welcome to the league moment. I told Martin, she'll get a welcome to the league moment real quick.
Oh yeah. She gonna realize we're not in Iowa no more. This ain't Big Ten.
Yeah, we play physical ball up here.
that flopping stuff. You gonna feel my pain. You gonna feel my defense. Like Natasha Cloud, I can't wait to see that because she is somebody who lives to be the main character. Remember what she did against Sabrina? Of course, they lost. The Mystics lost to Liberty, but Cloud locked her ass down and then also was putting in mad buckets left and right. So yeah, bro, this WNBA season is gonna be lit. Lit as hell.
And you got dogs in the league, man. Like you just named one, Natasha Cloud. Like you got dog. You're right, bro. Like they waiting for her right now. Like they're because as a competitor, you're excited because you know she's bringing attention, but also you're excited to play against her. You're excited to get a shot at her. It's like, girl, you've been blowing by girls at Ohio State. Come on over here to Vegas, baby. Come on out here to Vegas, baby.
I think about this conversation reminds me of, you know, when Shaq, they're like that, like 17, 18, when they kept having those conversations about like could the 17, 18 Warriors beat the 2000 Lakers. And Shaq was like, okay, yeah, send him down to the hole. I'll lay a hit on him. Yeah. Caitlin Clark is going, she's going to get a couple. She'll get more than a couple again in that game. She's going, but like that's to Martin's point, like it's two-sided. Like I think it was, who was it? Erica Wheeler was like, I got people who ain't talked to me in years asking me for tickets. Right. Like there's the excitement because it's more eyes, but it's also like, okay, they think you're the one. They think you the best thing since sliced bread. I'm gonna show them that you're not. I'm gonna show. Right. That's that like you were saying earlier, Chris. That's that competitive spirit that like these women don't have to like each other just because they like there's that healthy competitive respect, but like, they don't gotta be buddy and that's we talk all the time about how, you know, there's 12 teams, there's 144 players in the league. Like it's already super competitive within the teams themselves because they got to get a spot. We had Chaz Franklin on the show a couple weeks ago. He was saying he's never seen someone the caliber of Asia Wilson, who is set in stone in the league. And he was like, she plays like she's trying to get on our roster. This is the best player in the league we talk about. Now you start walking down the roster, you start getting the roster spots 10, 11, and 12, and you think they're not gonna have that just as much competitive. Yeah, it's gonna be good. She gonna have a couple of welcome to the league moments when she start getting on those podcasts next year. Oh, who's your welcome to the league moment? Hey man, they laid some hits on me.
Yeah. Yeah, Diana Taurasi, I know she gave like a forearm shiver to Kelsey Plum last season. And I think Kelsey's like, yeah, that's just how it is, Yeah. But yeah, it's coming.
Diana's a goon, dog. Diana's a straight up goon. I've seen it with my own eyes in person. Diana's a goon, bro. She's a straight up gangster. She really is. She be getting stuff off, like those matchups are going to be super fun. So yeah, like again, it's the Caitlin draft, and then her rookie season is going to make for a super anticipating WNBA season. I echo your take, Marcus. Like we're going to see those more records get broken this season, and it's just going to be super interesting to see this translation from all this excitement in the college game over to the W. It's not going to be everybody, of course, but we will feel and see the effects for sure. Not too much time left.
Jackson, though. Yeah, don't sleep on her. That is a pro-ready player right now. Her size, her skill set. Oh my gosh. You be looking what she's doing against South Carolina, LSU. She's gonna get hers.
She's gonna get hers.
She's gonna get hers.
She's gonna be she'll be a top 3. Well, she'll be top 5 for sure. Should be a top 3 pick. She's for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Oh, I'm so glad you said that because we need to keep saying her name. She's special, bro. She's special.
She really is.
Can't wait to see her at the next level. Absolutely. So glad you said that. Real quick, Chris, we don't have too much time left with you. We got a few kind of quick hit things to get through with you here. Okay. I do real quickly to go through this one quick, just to get your thoughts off the top of your head. National championship. Let's say South Carolina is there. They're going for the outright undefeated season. Didn't get it done last year, but 2 straight years undefeated in the regular season. Obviously, they lost in the Final Four last year. If South Carolina makes it to the title game, who would you like to see against South Carolina? Not necessarily to say they have the best shot, but just from your eyes, who would you like to see that matchup be with South Carolina in the title game?
Who would I like to see? I would love to see Iowa against South Carolina, so South Carolina can exact their revenge, right? Avenge that loss from last season. Can you imagine the attention that will be around the game, especially if South Carolina is undefeated at that point? Because if they run the table in the SEC tournament, which is a possibility, it's very likely they could end up in the national championship game. And just for the storylines, Iowa will be number 1, and then LSU, Angel, that rematch, and then Stanford too. That'll be cool because they have great battles all the time. Cameron Brink, Camila Cardoso.
You got me with that one. You got me with that one. That's a good one. You got me on that one. You got me on the
or even Colorado. Jalen Sherrod. That I would love to have her on my team. Like if I coach women's basketball or whatever, if I had a daughter, you know what I'm saying, that I wanted her to emulate something. She has a relentless motor, never stops. Juju's getting buckets on her in that game at USC, but she was holding her own at time too, making it very tough.
Mm-hmm. You got me with that Stanford. Ooh, Camilla.
That would be fire.
Him down low going at it.
That would be fire. I will say, Dwayne Marcus, as a South Carolina fan, I know why Stanford's appealing to you, because you better not act like you want to see Caitlin in the national championship. You better not act like you won't be sweating over there. Sweating.
I've seen Mosses before. I know how it goes.
Hey man, listen. I think South Carolina would handle business. But again, you give Caitlin a chance. You give Caitlin that one shot.
Bro, like you said though, bro. Caitlin don't have, bro. Caitlin don't got, bro. She don't got no fear, bro. She come down the court and just
That's what I'm saying, bro. If Caitlin Clark is in the national championship game, that will mean that she went off in the Elite Eight and in the Final Four, and you're gonna see the most scary version of her. So God bless you as a South Carolina fan if that goes down. I'm gonna be having fun watching the game. You're gonna be over there sweating. You have to take them glasses off and untie that hoodie. You're gonna have to, bro. You're gonna be sweating. You're gonna be talking a tough game, but
I don't want it. No, if I gotta see Iowa in the Natty, I will not be talking a tough game. Let's show some respect.
Not Iowa. Caitlin Clark, not Iowa.
That's the thing, though. Caitlin.
Right. If I gotta see Caitlin in the Natty, let me specify. If it's, I'm not gonna be talking. No, I'm gonna be sitting here like, we'll try again next year. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna call this spade a spade. We'll try again.
As scary as they were last year, bro. Because Monica Sonato, she don't give enough credit. You know what I'm saying, for what she did for that team. And you have like Hannah Stokey, Molly Davis. Hope she'll be all right. Gabby Marshall. But just the consistency level. Like, I'm not even sure Iowa may make it to the Final Four.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see, man. Caitlin's gonna have to, and again, she's already declared, so she's let go of all the expectations, no pressure. I'm just going all out. There's no telling what she's gonna be throwing up, bro. She's unloading the clip. This is her last run at it. She's unloading the clip, bro.
Stop it, bro. Stop.
No, but those matchups are going to be fun, man. Then the tournament's going to be nuts, bro. We might have to bring you back on, Chris, just to chop it up about some games because stuff is going to get spicy out here, man.
Absolutely.
Marcus, let's have Chris build a team real quick, man.
So these is the rules, Chris. Every basketball player on the women's side of things is available, both from the WNBA and college. We want you to build your perfect team. Every player possible is available.
Perfect team. See, here's the thing. I knew when y'all asked this question and put it on the rundown. I said it's a lot of projecting what these college players are going to be like. So I don't want to insert somebody like if Caitlin Clark, has this shooting range or not shooting range, her shooting marksman ability in the WNBA, of course she'd be on it. But because of what I'm seeing in the WNBA and it's a higher level product, here's my perfect team, right? So we got Asia Wilson, number 1. We got Brianna Stewart, number 2. I'm going to throw in Chelsea Gray at the 1. At the 2 is going to be Jewel Lloyd. And at the 3, I'm torn between Alyssa Thomas because of what she brings, triple-double machine, and also Jackie Young because a great three-point shooter and also is a really good defender. So I'm going to lean on Alyssa. Yeah, I'm going to lean on Alyssa. Yeah, so that'll be my starting 5, my ideal perfect team. That team,
peak 2K, see how many championships they win. Ugh.
Yeah. Because you got shooting, you have defense, you have generational talents all across the board.
That's a basketball team right there.
Bruh. AT Asia Stewie. God.
Chelsea Gray with all the
Chelsea, yeah. She could be throwing dimes left and right. Come on, man. And then Jewel.
Jewel Lloyd off the ball?
Off the ball, she'd be living in paradise.
Oh my goodness. I put a bad taste in my mouth.
Jewel Lloyd off the ball with Chelsea Gray. That's a basketball team.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Let's go into Queen of the Week.
Yeah.
Real quick. Let's give our Queens of the Week. So this is our time to just shout out any players, anyone who's doing their thing in women's basketball right now, and just showing them love for Queen of the Week. I'll go first real quick. My Queen of the Week is actually Angel Reese for winning SEC Player of the Year. She joins Simone Augustus and Sylvia Fowles as the only members of LSU to win Conference Player of the Year. She has led the conference in scoring and rebounding this season, 19 points, 13 rebounds a game at 50% shooting. Get this. This is her second straight year leading the SEC in both scoring and rebounding. The last person to do that in consecutive seasons in the SEC, it was decades ago in 89 and 90, a woman by the name of, Wendy Skoltens at Vanderbilt back in 89-90, the last one to lead the SEC in scoring and rebounding in consecutive seasons. And just lastly on Angel, I really point this out, Chris, because of how the season started with that whole story and the little suspension and people questioning her motive and her work ethic. And does she really love basketball? Is fame getting to her? She's going out of her mind. She can't handle this and all that stuff. And she came right back, got right back to business, got right back in All-American form. And now she's SEC Player of the Year, has LSU ready to, you know, make another deep run in the NCAA tournament. So my queen of the week is Angel Reese for making history, for putting on for LSU, and for bouncing back and winning the SEC Player of the Year.
I ain't mad at that at all. Angel Reese is a great candidate, or a great person to be your queen of the week. What she's able to do on the floor and then also off the court, and what she's dealt with, very well deserved. What about you, Dwayne Marcus?
How's he know my first and last? Oh, it's in my email.
Chris pays attention, man. He's on. Yeah, bro. Hey, Chris is on television, dog. Chris, you know what I mean?
That one got me. My queen of the week is Cameron Brink, who I have I will not sit here and lie to you. I am a South Carolina fan, but Cameron Brink has been.
You love you some Cameron Brink.
I love Cameron Brink. There's something about Cameron Brink that just really got me this season. She was the Pac-12 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. I have a soft spot for the Pac-12 because I'm an Oregon fan. This is obviously the last year of the Pac-12. So for her to be basically the last Pac-12 woman, Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year is amazing. But she played great ball this year. She averaged a double-double, finished with 17 points per game in the regular season and 11 boards. She was outstanding, not to mention 4 blocks a game, which is just unheard of. She's a force to be reckoned with on both sides of the ball. As Martin said, I have been I'm not going to say I've been the biggest Cameron Brink fan this year, but I have been screaming Cameron Brink's names from the rooftops all season long. I cannot wait to see her play in the WNBA, and what I'm assuming is LA, which is very exciting for me because I think she'll be perfect in LA. But that's my queen of the week, Cameron Brink.
I love it, man. Cameron Brink has been an absolute sensational player her entire career, but she's just gotten better and better, and I feel like she's coming into her peak form as the tournament starts. So that's great. My queen of the week, are we able to, it has to be players, or can it be somebody else?
No, sir. Anybody.
A queen.
Okay, anyone. Okay, a queen. Listen, if it weren't for, let me just say it, Dawn Staley is my queen of the week because she just got named SEC Coach of the Year for the 3rd straight year, 7-time overall, one behind the late, great, iconic Tennessee head coach Pat Summitt, because she and her staff engineered and built a team this year to go undefeated for the 2nd straight year in the regular season, 29-0, 16-0 in conference play, playing a top 15, top 16 toughest schedule. When they lost all 5 starters, you bring in Tahina Pow, you got Sakima Walker, you have players in new roles, more prominent positions, Bree Hall, Kimberly Cardoso, Alison Watkins, Chloe Kitts, Raven Johnson. This goes on and on, Tanaya Fagan. And they don't miss a beat. Dawn Staley is the truth. You do not doubt. The hashtag should be "Don't Doubt Dawn."
No,
because a lot of people thought it was going to be a rebuilding year. And baby, they said, screw a rebuilding year. Screw, we're going to be in the middle of the pack. We're going to be the #1 team in the nation. And not only that, we're going to have a perfect resume going into conference tournament play. That lady works her ass off. The X's and O's, how she leads the team. She is somebody who embraces her team, her players' personalities, makes sure they're ready for the pros, but also buying into her system. You can just tell that they love working together and figuring it out. This team has been in so many tight moments, and every time they respond as if they've had all the experience in the world. And where did that come from? At the top in Dawn motherfucking Staley. She knows what she's got. She knows what buttons to press. You in trouble, you gonna sit out. You're gonna do XYZ. But then you respond, and you don't cry, or you don't say, oh man, the treatment. No, it's like, okay, I took one on the chin, and then bam, you show out. So Dawn Staley is my queen of the week. She needs so much more love, that whole team, for what they've been able to accomplish, going undefeated back to back, and the fact that they lost all 5 starters and they really haven't missed a beat.
Well said, bro. Bro, as great as we should know Dawn is and what's happening, it's like we gotta keep reminding people what's going. For some reason, we gotta keep reminding people what's going on out here, because she's dominating the sport. Like you just said all of that so well. Like she had a whole new group. They're not just good. They're
losing all 5 starters next year. So
right,
we'll be right back here next year.
Yeah, right. That's a scary thing. That is a scary thing. Pow coming back. Look, if Camila Cardoso comes back, the SEC is going to be in hell. They are going to be so upset, because they already got a great recruiting class coming out too. So
I was just about to say they got some new killers coming in. Don't worry, they got some new fresh blood coming in. Trust me. Yeah, no, it ain't slowing down anytime soon. Our second straight week. Well, we weren't here last week because Dwayne Marcus was sick. Glad that he's back healthy. But our second edition of the illustrious queen of the week, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and Dawn Staley. Great. That's great stuff, fellas. Let's kick it to wrapping up with Chris, with what we do when we wrap up with our guest. Usually when we've had a lot of players on as guests, Chris, we've had Keomi McMiller, Diamond Johnson, Mimi Collins at NC State.
Yep.
And we like asking these young queens, as we are also going to ask you in somewhat of a different context, but it's kind of the same thing, your top 5 hoop queens. So these could be your favorite players. These could be women who are or were coaches, or just women that contribute to the women's game that inspired you or put you on, or just give you that kind of energy that you appreciate and need when it comes to women's basketball. So give us your top 5 hoop queens as we get ready to get you out of here.
So overall, top 5 hoop queens.
Overall, top 5 hoop queens.
They can be current or former players. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Lord
yes,
have
sir.
mercy. I gotta say, man, Pat Summitt, late great Pat Summitt, rest in peace. Candace Parker, V2. She is one of the GOATs in my opinion. Women's basketball, I gotta show love to Cheryl Swoops. Tremendous talent, and then also now being a more prominent face for the WN college basketball. I'd have to also go Maya Moore. I mean, watching her play at UConn and in Minnesota, she was just an unstoppable force and so smooth with it. Like the combination of her athleticism and intelligence. And then last but not least, there's so many. Ivory Latta, UNC guard. She was one of the coldest players during her time, man. Undersized, but boy, did she have that ball on a string, and she could hit you with the hezzy, the crossover, step back, fearless attitude. So yeah, those are my 5. I won't disrespect anybody, but I only got 5. Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah,
wait, hold on. I got it. Hold on. No, wait. As much as I love Ivory, Asia Wilson, I'm sleeping. I can't. Yeah, I gotta go back to Asia, bro. I gotta go back to Asia. This woman has won 2 MVPs, 2 titles back to back. First time since the Sparks did it. And not only that, she's a New York Times bestseller. A Black woman who's dyslexic. Let me say that again. A Black woman who is dyslexic is a New York Times bestseller. Yeah, she gotta be on there, bro.
Yeah, nah, you that was needed. That was appropriate. Yeah. I'm glad you got that in. Like, hold on, bro. Man.
I love the Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out who voted 4th. I don't know what's up with that.
Apparently she knows. Apparently she knows.
She knows. Yeah, man. Look, brother, you can't go wrong with Asia Wilson, though. I'll tell you that much.
No.
That's a basketball player right there. What a woman, too. I'm sorry. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, man. It is always a pleasure to do Protect Our Queens. We are especially appreciative to have the one and only Chris Williamson joining us on the show tonight. Thank you all who watched live. Thank you all who are going to watch this back later or listen to this back when it drops on audio platforms. Please, please, please leave a like, comment, join the conversation. Follow the page at @ProtectOurQueens_ on Instagram for clips and other commentary about the show, about women's basketball. We love women's basketball. Chris loves women's basketball. And as we always say, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you, because this ain't the place for you if you don't like women's basketball. So for our guest, Chris Williamson, who we know is going to continue to protect our queens on Twitter and wherever else he goes. And for my guy, Martin Soares, this is Marcus of Protect Our Queens signing off. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, you guys go enjoy yourselves some basketball.